Hey guys, Doc Schoenfeld back for another Coffee and Tourniquets with Damascus Medical. It's been a little bit. It's been a hectic, crazy summer with the family. But hey, we've all been there. So hey, just want to give you guys an update on some stuff that I've been reading on and thoroughly enjoying. But I also recommend you guys do. This is kind of more for my advanced practitioners, my paramedics, my PAs, nurse practitioners, and then obviously combat medics, things like that I know are listening for this stuff. Really been reading through JSOM. Highly recommend the magazine. This is the summer edition. There was a great article on discussing needle decompression or needle thoracostomy for decompression of a tension pneumothorax or a pneumothorax, mostly involving the left side. So when we talk about needle decompression, fourth or fifth intercostal space, anterior mid-axillary line, we take our, by TCCC training, we take our dart or ours or spear from Blackhawk Medical to needle decompress this whole unit. You hub it, bury it in, go over the rib at your anatomically correct position, go over the rib all the way to the hub according to TCCC guidelines, and then pull out the needle. You should hear a rush of air, that kind of thing. Civilian market, civilian side of things, the way we've typically trained for needle decompression prior to TCCC trainings is insert anatomically correct location, and as you insert, you listen for the rush of air. Once the rush of air is achieved, you advance the catheter over the needle and then remove the needle, not necessarily hub the unit. As you can tell, this is pretty long. The average size is about it's a 10 gauge by 3.25 inches. If you look at my body habitus and say we hub this kind of even there, this can kind of reach midline. The current concern is under the TCCC teaching is that if you hub it as indicated, you may inadvertently, how should we say, get a cardiac biopsy. Not what we want, obviously, right? So the current recommendations are to advance so you hear the rush of air, and then advance the catheter over the needle. Definitely, it's a very good article in here. In fact, one of the local Bethlehem docs is involved in writing it and was on the podcast to present it. If you get a chance, check out JSOM's podcast. It's free. They do review of, I think, about 3 articles out of their magazine, because you got to get the magazine to get the rest of the articles. That being said, I think this goes all to teaching. If we understand anatomy and physiology and what this is for and what could happen and some of the not side effects, but adverse reactions to a procedure, then I think you understand why hubbing a unit such as this or bigger is not a good idea. What lies near on this left side is the heart, and it goes relatively close. And they did a prospective study and looked at CAT scans of traumatic individuals that showed how close the heart was actually to the rib border. I'm going to hold off on the numbers, let you guys read it and or follow the podcast to get those numbers. But again, it is a risk. So now sometimes in our fury of activity, we may not hear adequate breath sounds. You may think you don't have breath sounds on this left side, or even the right side for that matter, but this is mostly focused on the left side. And their blood pressure is tanking, their heart rate's going through the roof. So with those indicators, you're going to go, man, high probability with chest trauma that I got a tension pneumothorax. So you dart them or needle decompress. Some of those cases, they actually didn't. It was poor conditions, and you couldn't hear breath sounds adequately. But given your presenting signs, you would not be faulted for doing the procedure as an advanced practitioner. That being said, if there was no tension pneumothorax, what happens with tension? It balloons up, kind of pushes things away from the chest wall and the heart more towards this side, right? When you're developing tension, you widen that space. So less likelihood of, under the TCCC training guidelines, of hubbing it and causing an injury to the heart or cardiac injury. That being said, if we continue to practice using our brain and understanding physiology and practice in the fact that hit the anatomically correct positions, advance the catheter till you hear a rush of air, and then advance the unit until you hear a rush of air, then advance the catheter over the needle, there's less likelihood of causing a cardiac injury with a needle decompression on the left side. So a lot of information, again, mostly focused on more of my advanced practitioners versus the civilian market, but still good data and good things to consider. So guys, I highly recommend, again, if you are in the field or interested, check out JSOM. Great articles, great information in here, and then their podcasts that are free online. You could do iTunes or I think Apple or whatever, any of the apps that are under there. I think I have the Google podcast that I use. So again, focus on your teaching, guys. If you're out there teaching this and see this technique for Teachable C, and the book says hub the unit, reconsider that on the left side, guys, okay? So again, hope you enjoyed this episode of Coffee and Tourniquets. A little extra information out here for my advanced practitioners. Be safe out there, guys. All right, take care.